the next couple of weeks, this week and next week, we are diving into the book of Jonah. It's a very short book. I don't know if you have read it before. It only has 4 chapters. It is a very short book, and it is one of those that once upon a time there was a man, right? And we want to center ourselves in this once upon a time about 800 years before Christ. So we're talking a long time ago. The Israelites were living in a land in a time of relative peace. They had some conquest that had given them some military peace. They were surrounded by the Assyrians. The Assyrians were not friendly. The Assyrians were brutal, cruel people who had done awful things to the peoples of the land. And so today we are going to be talking about this man Jonah and what God wants him to do and how he wants him to go to this group of people. I've asked my daughter, because this is a longer text today, and I've asked her to help me read it. And as we read it, I told him to not have it on the screen, because I want you to listen to this like a story, as if I were an old Appalachian storyteller and I was up here telling you about a man named Jonah once upon a time, okay?
She told me it was a dramatic reading. So.
Okay, well, everything about me is dramatic, but if she'll just help me out so that you don't have to listen to me the whole time, all will be well. Okay, so I'm going to start and we will go back and forth. This is Jonah chapter 1 and 2. One day, the word of the Eternal One came to the prophet Jonah.
Get up and go to that powerful and notorious city of Nineveh. Call out my message against it, because the wickedness of its people have come to my attention.
And hearing those instructions, Jonah got up and ran toward Tarshish from the Eternal's presence. He went down to the port of Joppa and found a ship bound for Tarshish. He climbed aboard, paid the fare, and made himself comfortable in the hold of the ship. The Lord calls Jonah to Nineveh, but instead he runs full speed to Tarshish, a great and wealthy city on the coast of Spain. It is about as far to the west as most Israelites have ever ventured, while Nineveh is about as far to the east as most Israelites have ever gone. Nineveh is a great city and the fiercest enemy of Jonah's people. So Jonah is afraid and wants to be completely away from this calling and from anyone who may be inclined to go on this ill-fated adventure. Not to be deterred, the Eternal One threw an intense wind at the sea. The violence of the storm put Jonah's ship in jeopardy of breaking apart. The sailors panicked. They started running back and forth, throwing cargo overboard to lighten the boat. Every man, out of desperation, cried to his own deity. Eventually, a sailor found Jonah in the hold of the ship, where he had lain down and fallen into a deep slumber. When the captain heard, he went down and woke Jonah up.
How can you sleep so deeply? Get up and call out to your deity. Maybe your deity will see what is happening and save us from this catastrophe.
You know what we should do. We should cast lots to find out who is ultimately responsible for our distress. So they cast lots, and Jonah's name was chosen. Who are you? We must know who is responsible for this disaster that would swallow us in the sea. What do you do? Where are you from? What country is your home? Whom are you descended from?
I am Hebrew, and the God whom I worship is the Eternal One, the God of heaven. He made the sea and the land, so he controls them. After interrogating him, the sailors were terrified, because Jonah had told them that he was running away from the Eternal's presence.
What have you done? Because of you, we're all going to be killed. What should we do with you to make the sea calm down for us?
God is using the sea to punish me. So pick me up and throw me into the sea. Then the sea will grow calm again, and you'll be safe. This is all my fault. This great storm of my God's anger has built against you because of me.
The sailors fear what will happen to them if they kill one of God's people. The sailors ignored Jonah's advice and tried to row back to land. They made no headway because the violence of the storm kept growing. Eternal One, please, we beg you, do not kill us.
Do not kill us as if we had murdered this man, and don't punish us as if we'd killed an innocent person. We understand that you, Eternal One, do as you please." At that, they grabbed Jonah by his arms and legs and threw him overboard. And when they did, the raging sea grew calm. The sailors were even more terrified of the Eternal One. They offered sacrifices to him and made promises to him. The Eternal didn't let Jonah die. He chose a large fish to swallow Jonah. For 3 days and 3 nights, the prophet Jonah sat safely inside the belly of the fish. To his God, the Eternal, Jonah prayed from inside this great fish. Jonah reveals in his prayer a change of heart, and he thanks God for saving him from the angry sea.
I beckoned the Eternal to hear, and he answered me. From the belly, the place of death, I cried out to you, and you have responded to my voice. You threw me into the watery depths and cast me into the middle of the chaotic seas. The waters closed in around me. Your waves broke all over me. Your surf swelled as I sank into the depths. But then I said to you, I have been driven out from before your very eyes. Still, I know I will gaze again on you in your holy temple. The waters swallowed me. The deep abyss was covering over me. Seaweeds were wrapped around my head, trapping me. And as I sank down to where the mountains are rooted into the earth, I went down to the place where death's gate would have locked me in forever. Yet you lifted me up from the pit. Eternal One, you are my God. Only as my life was fading away did I remember the Eternal. To your sacred dwelling, your holy temple, my cries did rise to you. Those who worship worthless idols turn their backs on God and renounce their loyal love. But I will sing to you and sacrifice to you, with a voice filled with thanksgiving. Whatever I promise, I will certainly pay it, because deliverance is from the Eternal alone. Then the Eternal once directed the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto the shore.
This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. And thank you, Phoebe, for helping me to read this very long passage. By next week, you will have read or heard read aloud chunks of scripture, which we don't do very often because people aren't very good at being able to listen. If you're an audible book person, then you're used to this. But in this way, this story lends itself to telling the whole story. And just, but point of reference, when I told the kids, or I asked the kids, how did Jonah get out of the whale? He did. He vomited him up, which I think is a very strange image. This is a text. It is a book. It is a once upon a time, let me tell you about a man named Jonah. There is a lot in this book. I love this book. And today you get to hear the grown-up version. Many of you have heard the children's version. But there is a reason why Jonah gets swallowed by a big fish. So we're going to get honest as the grown-ups. We're going to have a little bit of fun this morning with this text, and we're going to be real, and I'm going to ask for some interaction with this, because I think that we all have a sense that this is us, has been us, and will be us, right? So let's be honest, church. We all run. If there is something we don't want to do, any procrastinators out there? I am the queen of putting things off that I do not want to do. Jonah does not want to go to Nineveh. He hates those people, and they hate him. But let's get back to us and how we like to run from things, too, that we don't want to do, from things that scare us. Some of us run from the truth. Some of us will run from traumas that we've had. Some of us will run from trusting others. Some of us will run from our calling in life. Some of us run from caring for others. And some of us run from confronting those things in our lives
that hurt us. That's like the shoving it down, right? Just shove it down. Don't deal with it. Jonah ran from God. He ran from God like his sandals were on fire. Have y'all ever heard of that? Jonah ran from God like his sandals were on fire. He wasn't a lazy man. He was afraid. He was afraid. He was afraid of the unknown. He was afraid of the uncomfortable. He was afraid that God's grace was just too much because he hated these people. And they were mean. And they could hurt him. Here's a saying that I've heard many times, and it really it strikes me every time I hear it. The Bible is not about people trying to find God, but about God trying to find people who will let God in, who will listen to God. God's got a good GPS. You can't outrun God. God will always find us, no matter how hard we try to run from things in our lives. Jonah gets on a ship, but you know what? It's that adage, everywhere you go, there you are. He jumps on that ship. God's still there. You can't run away from who you are. The winds rise. The storm gets worse. And I want you to think about it this way. That storm that's happening in that boat, that's scaring them all to death, that is not just bad weather and a storm on a sea. That's a wake up. That is a wake up. Sometimes the storms that come in our lives are saying, wake up, Debbie. Wake up to what's going on. It's not sent to kill us. Jonah doesn't die. These storms don't come to punish and kill us. They are sent to save us. Think about that. Sometimes these storms are actually saving us. A lot of times from ourselves, right? It's not punishment. It's preparation. It's not rejection. It's redirection. You prayed for peace, you tried to run, but God sent a storm, and because peace without truth, having peace without truth, it is like taking a nap on a sinking ship. Y'all can tell I'm having fun with this, right? But God says, I love you too much to let you drift. And sometimes grace has to grab us by the ankle, right? Before it can lift us up and move into our heart. So I want you to say something with me. I want you to say this. Sometimes that crash that we have, that's the call. I want you to say that with me. The crash is the call. The crash is the call. Now Jonah is in the belly of that big old fish. And it's dark, and it's damp, and done. He's not dead. He is not dead. He has gone through the storm, and now he has been swallowed up. He's not dead. He's developing. He's not buried. He's not buried. He's becoming. In the deep, in the belly, Jonah discovers what many of us learn the hard way. When you can't go around it, you got to go through it. How many of you remember the children's book, Going on a Bear Hunt? I loved going on. It was one of our favorites, wasn't it, Phoebe? It was his family, and they've got these kids, and they're going on a bear hunt, and they have to go through all these different places. And at first, it's like, we're going on a bear hunt, we're going to catch a big one. Oh, no, a river. We can't go around it. We can't go over it. We have to go through it. And then it's like sloshy, 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 you know, and you're reading. I mean, it's for little kids. And then there's another one where they're like, we're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. Oh, no. And then there's these really tall weeds, and they're waving back and forth, and they're like, we can't go around it. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We have to go through it. Oh, no. And then the book goes, swishy, swashy, swishy, swash, as they walk through. The whole point is, you can't go around. You can't go under. You have to go through things. And Jonah, who has had this storm and is in the belly of the whale, he is having to go through this time. No Wi-Fi, no cell phones, no distractions, just Jonah and his thoughts and the quiet and his God. And in that stillness, in the belly of a whale, Jonah stops running and starts remembering, I belong to God, and God won't give up on me. I belong to God, and God won't give up on me. You've been in that dark, stinking, hard place. Something had to get you there, and it's usually a storm. And when we get there, remember, I belong to God, and God won't give up on me. Guess who else spent 3 days somewhere? Jesus. We get a parallel here. Jesus spent 3 days in the tomb, 3 days in the dark, and the tomb looked like defeat. He was dead. But it wasn't. Let's just call it divine downtime, right? Jesus got his divine downtime in the darkness. So I want you to say this after me, because that's what we need as well. Sometimes we need it. We need to pause. We need to stop. We need some downtime because we are running and we're lost. So I want you to say this after me. My pause has a purpose. My pause has a purpose. We have to pause. We have to pause in these times. And then we go back to Jonah and we think about what happened. He didn't die in that darkness. He didn't die in that pain. He didn't die in that anxiety. Instead, as he prays out to God, there is a rebirth or a vomit. I don't know, whatever you want to say. I always think about my cats and just the hairballs, right? But whatever, he comes back up out of the fish, right? Right? It is a rebirth of sorts. It is a projectile. After 3 days, the fish couldn't hold him. When grace finishes working with us, it has to let us go. When grace finishes working with you and me, it has to let us go. Jonah gets spit out. I love this. He gets spit out and he's salty and sandy and sanctified. That was for you. Sanctified. He'd been changed. He'd been transformed in that darkness, in that hard time. He doesn't get to look like he used to look. He doesn't talk like he used to talk, right? He doesn't even run away like he used to run away. We may come out of our storms dripping in seaweed and regret and stink, but if you come out with a new compassion, you're already clean. Because grace is not something that you have earned. It's what you have consent to receive. God's not withholding grace. We just don't want to receive it, right? We are not being punished. We are being prepared. In the dark, weird time, we are not being punished. You are not being punished in these storms of your life. and this darkness and despair, you are not being punished. You're being prepared to open your heart, to receive the grace of God. So Jonah's fish became his formation. The adult version's a lot more complicated, isn't it? We think this is a very simple story. And it is. It's a story about humans. His dark place, Jonah's dark place, became his doorway to what would be his destiny, right? It would become this doorway to this new life that God is and was calling him into. And I want to challenge us today, and we've only read the first 2 chapters of Jonah, but maybe we have these places right now. Maybe you are dealing with some darkness, some grief, some burnout, some doubt, some depression, some exhaustion, right? But God does God's holy work in those places. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. If God can turn a fish into a classroom, God can turn your struggle into a sermon, God can turn your pain into purpose, God can turn your mess into a message. That's usually what our testimony Sundays are about, right? Your breakdown is very often your breakthrough. Sometimes we have to go through it. We can't go around it, over it, under it. We got to go through it. I want to share a little bit as I was thinking about what this might look like for some of us as we go through some of these very uncertain times in our storms and in the belly of the fish. See, Jonah's storm did stop. But once the storm stopped and he was left in that dark quiet, it was about what he did with that. So I want you to think about this. For those of you who are on the younger side, who are some of our younger adults, have you ever had a situation where maybe you missed a ride or showed up someplace or got left someplace and you're really upset, you're thinking your day is ruined, this person doesn't like me, and unexpectedly, you end up meeting somebody who changes your perspective on things or opens a new opportunity. Sometimes you don't want to go someplace, and you show up, and you're miserable to have to be there, and then you meet somebody, and all of a sudden, well, I sure am glad I came, right? It was worth the anxiety and making myself get here. I had a time for me after college. I didn't know what to do after I graduated from college. I was an anthropology major, and I didn't know what you were supposed to do with something like that. French, geography minors. There were about 2.5 years after college. I had no idea what I was going to do. My friends were starting their jobs and starting their families, and they were getting master's degrees and going on and had all of these great lives, and didn't know. And I couldn't make something happen, and I felt so on my own, alone, right? That time transformed me. There were a lot of things that happened in those 2.5 years that I came out very different, having gone through all of that stuff that we do as young people. And then I'll tell you, something else that happens in our lives, and I like to say every 7 years stuff happens, big stuff happens, right? I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems in my life it does. But when you think about your career, parenting, life transitions, losing a job, or experiencing a career setback, at first it feels like absolute disaster. But it forces you to rethink your priorities. It forces you to rethink and to pursue something that is more meaningful to your life, right? A more meaningful path. It stops you. Jonah's pause in the belly of that whale teaches us that disruption isn't punishment, it's preparation, right? And so for many of us, we are going through, and we know because of our prayer concerns every week, that as we age, we hit some of these storms and we hit pauses. And one day you're going along just fine, and that storm comes and it stops you dead in your tracks. And then you're just there in the darkness. Health challenges, retirement, loss of a spouse, feeling isolated. Pauses can provide a time of reflection, mentoring others. This is how we do it. Or setting you on a new path and new passions in your life. Even later in life, right? Grace is still going to meet us in these dark moments, in the belly of the fish, renewing our purpose, renewing and offering us opportunities for more compassion, for legacy. You see, Jonah's not really that simple, is it? It's just our journey. It's our journey about struggle. It's our journey about pausing in that once the storm is over and letting God begin to humble us, change us, renew us. Nothing we go through in life is wasted. I say that to my kids all the time. Nothing you do, nothing you go through, no fight with friends, no loss of job, no death of family member, nothing you go through is wasted. It is preparing us for more love, more compassion, following Jesus, the way of Jesus, more closely, more empathetically, right? So, here's your homework this week on our first half of Jonah. Stop running. Stop procrastinating. Stop hiding, right? Start resting. Just sit with it. Sit with it. Stop running from it. Feel it. You hear that from counselors. Feel the feels. It's okay to not be okay. That was a song, right? Who sings that? It's okay not to be okay. Oh, now come on, y'all. I can't even ask my own daughter. She's on her phone over there. Okay, well, anyway, stop, rest, recognize, right? Let God find you. Let God find you. Jonah was in the belly of a fish or a whale for 3 days. Jesus was in the earth for 3 days. And neither trip, y'all, was fun, but both of them came out with freedom and resurrection. So don't curse where you are now if you are feeling confined and in darkness. God is preparing your comeback. God is preparing you if you will open your heart. So I want you to say one more thing with me as we close here today. I'll say a sentence, and then you repeat after me. I may be in the belly, but I'm on my way to breakthrough. Amen.